الله 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 ما لنا مولى سوى الله 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 ما لنا مولى سوى الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: عليكم بالسنة والسنة خلفاء الراشدين المهديين، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام: رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. Peace and blessings be upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of His blessings and all of the bounties that He has bestowed upon all of us, all the luxuries and all the comforts of life Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. We can't even thank enough. And also we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue showering His blessings upon us, because our iman is so weak that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were to take away that comfort from us, we wouldn't be able to handle it. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue showering His blessings upon us. So today's discussion is, just briefly, I want to talk about some of the attributes of Umar radiallahu anhu and how we can learn from his life and how we can inculcate those attributes in ourselves. When you hear about someone, when you hear a story or watch a documentary, and even if it's fictitious or not, it tends to, sometimes it gets you excited, right? And you want to be like that person, right? So similarly, the thing is, a lot of times we get excited over fictitious things, right? So we'll read Harry Potter and we get super excited by those books, even though that's not even real. But we fail to read the stories of the Sahaba, the stories of the Anbiya. If we were to sit down and read those, they would increase so much in our zeal and enthusiasm, and they would excite us much more. And those excitement would be much more long-lasting compared to the excitement that you'd get from fictitious readings. So we should kind of make it a ma'mul, a habit, that as a family, every now and then, we sit down and read some books of the Sahaba, maybe the life of the Sahaba, Hayatus Sahaba, maybe the stories of the Prophet, inshallah. Our youth, they are lacking. Before when we were young and our elders were young, they would go to the maktab, they would spend a lot of time in the masajid, and they would get all of that information from the masajid, from the makatib. Nowadays, our youth, they go to the maktab once a week, only on Sunday school, right? Sunday school they'll go. How much can the teacher cover in a couple of hours? How much? Not much. So us as parents, it's our responsibility that we start something like that. So khair, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that alaykum bis sunnati, that hold on to my sunnah. So he is telling all of us that hold on to my sunnah. And Rasulullah didn't stop at that. He also said, was sunnati khulafa'ir rashidin, that also the sunnah of the khulafa, the rashidun, the rightly guided khulafa. So sometimes people, when they hear that something was started at the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, they'll say, oh, this is bid'ah. They'll say, oh, this is bid'ah. This is started by Umar radiallahu anhu. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left by telling us that not only follow my sunnah, but also follow the sunnah of the khulafa. So Rasulullah knew that they couldn't start any bid'ah. They couldn't misguide the mankind. Anything that they would do in light of the Quran and Hadith, in light of the Sunnah. They could not do anything against the Sunnah and the mandates of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and also the life of the Sahaba, from their life, we find out a lot of the things that we might not find directly from the Hadith. Maybe on certain issue, it was not recorded how to deal with a certain thing. So if we don't find a specific hadith, then where do we go? We go to the life of the Sahaba. And from their life, if we see them doing something, if we see the Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam doing something, what does that indirectly tell us? That this was sanctioned by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw this, he would approve of it. Because who would know the Sharia better, us or would the Sahaba know it better? They know the Sharia inside out. They knew the Sharia inside out. Each and every Sahabi knew the Sharia. They knew the mizaj and the temperament of our entire religion. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in one of the hadith, he says that my Sahabi, my companions are like the stars. My companions are like the stars, and you could take any of them, any one of them, and you'll be guided. You know how today we use GPS to guide ourselves, right? Even from here to go home, we'll just put it on the GPS. Maybe to save us time, maybe to give us the best route. But we're so dependent on the GPS that sometimes we're not able to travel without it. If you were to take that GPS away, not able to get anywhere. Similarly, you can also guide. GPSs use satellites. But you know what's another form of navigation? Stars. And the stars were used for navigation through a long time ago, from ages, from long ages. So the way, and even now, there's different programs that are being developed where if the satellites were to go offline, we'll be able to use the stars to navigate. So they're developing those kind of programs. So it's telling us that the way you can navigate your way using the stars, you could pick any one star, and if you know all the details about the stars, you'll be able to get to your destination. Similarly, you could pick any one Sahabi, and you'll be able to get your salvation. That's how much confidence Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had in the Sahaba. That's how much knowledge, how much iman the Sahaba had, how much ilm the Sahaba had, right? So therefore, when we look at the lives of the Sahaba, and if we see them doing something, we should never question their judgment. We should never question the judgment of the Sahaba. So now, when we look at the life of Umar radiallahu anhu, he was briefly just some details. So he was born 13 years after the year of Fil, right? The Surah Fil, that incident that happened. He was born 13 years after that. When he accepted Islam, he announced it openly, and that was his. So every person has a salient feature. Some people will be more generous. Like some people, they're just from youth, they're more generous. Some people are brave and confident, right? Courageous. So Umar radiallahu anhu, his salient feature was he was very courageous, very courageous. So he was one of the few Sahabi that, most of the Sahaba, when they migrated from Mecca to Medina, they migrated silently, secretly. They migrated at night time, right? And they would go out without making too much commotion. Umar radiallahu anhu, when he migrated, before migrating, he goes to the Kaaba and he sees all the people over there having different halaqat, and he addresses each and every one of them, and he tells them that whoever wants their children to be orphaned, they may follow me. Whoever wants their spouses to be widows, they may follow me. He gives this open announcement and he leaves. So that was the courage of Umar radiallahu anhu. So may Allah give us courage like that. So a lot of times courage, if it's utilized, it could turn into oppression. If a person has a lot of courage, if you have a lot of confidence and courage, but if you don't have the proper understanding of religion, proper understanding of living life, you could oppress people, right? People, a lot of times you see the bullies in the school, they'll have courage, but they won't have understanding. They'll have courage, but they won't stop other bullies, but instead they'll bully other people, right? They'll go commit oppression upon the people who are weaker than them. But if you have courage and it's used in the right form, you'll be able to do Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahi Anil Munkar with your courage. So this is one sifa that Umar radiallahu anhu had, courage. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he even made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, strengthen this religion by either the iman of Umar radiallahu anhu or the iman of Abu Jahl. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted Umar radiallahu anhu for his deen, and how much work of deen Umar radiallahu anhu did. In his 8 years of khilafah, our religion, Islam, expanded all the way from the east all the way to the west in his 8 years of khilafah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted him so much, and his understanding of religion was so profound, that there were several instances where he suggested something and wahi came in accordance to his suggestion. His understanding of religion was so profound, so deep understanding, not like us. When we do our research, we find a hadith, oh, this is in Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari, that's it. We think that's the end of it, that's the end of the religion. But just a single hadith, is that our religion? Is that how you determine a ruling on a particular issue? Is that how you figure out the ruling on a particular issue? Just one hadith, is that it? No. The ulama, they go through the entirety of the whole package, all the different ayahs of the Quran, all the different hadith, and they figure out the different meanings of the hadith. They figure out the background of revelation, right? They do all of that research, and then they give out a ruling. But nowadays we just pick and choose, just pick one hadith, and we become the mufti. We give the ruling, oh, based on this hadith, this is how it should be. Khalas, as simple as that. But that's not how religion works. Religion has a whole deep study. Umar radiallahu anhu, he spent a decade, from what I remember, I think he spent a decade just becoming expert in Surah Baqarah. He spent a decade studying Surah Baqarah. How much time did we spend? How much time did we spend learning the religion? Not even a fraction of it. So how could we understand the religion? How could we understand the mizaj, the temperament of our religion, if we haven't spent time studying the religion, right? So he knew the religion so inside out that if he saw something happening, even if he did not know the apparent ruling from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he got an idea roughly. oh, this doesn't seem right. You know how, like, if you're experienced in a field, for example, let's say you are an architect or an engineer, you spent a decade in your field, and then you come across something new, a new type of building, and the architect is suggesting maybe this kind of beam. You're gonna say, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem right. Based on my intuition, it just seems wrong. Right? That comes from a deeper understanding. So Umar radiallahu anhu had that deep understanding of the religion. I'll give you some instances. Once, so in this instance, different people would come to Rasulullah's residence, and a lot of them were Muslims. They would come for different rulings, and then the non-Muslims would also come to the house of Rasulullah. And Umar radiallahu anhu, he saw that, and he realized that this doesn't seem right. He suggests to Rasulullah that, Ya Rasulullah, why don't you ask the family to do extra parda, because these people, some of them are righteous, but some of them are fusaq, right? So it doesn't seem right. So then right after that, the verses were revealed, asking the spouses of Rasulullah and just Muslims in general to have extra uh, extra covering. So, and nowadays we have no problem with mixed gathering. We have no problem with that. But even if you understand the religion, you'll realize that modesty is a huge part of our religion, right? Al-haya'u shu'batun min al-iman. So mentions that haya is a branch of iman. Scholars say that the person who does not have haya, it's as if he does not have life. The word hayat, life, it's from the same root letter as haya. So if a person, he does not have haya, it's as if he has no life. He could do whatever he wishes. So haya is such an integral part of iman. So Umar radiallahu anhu, from his deep understanding of the religion, he realizes that it doesn't seem right. So he suggested that, and that was the shan nuzul of the verses of the Quran. Subhanallah. Another instance I'll mention. Actually, we'll skip to some of the other attributes of Umar radiallahu anhu. Some other attributes of Umar radiallahu anhu were, one of them was zuhud. You guys know what zuhud means? Zuhud means striving, working tirelessly, putting a lot of effort. So Umar radiallahu anhu, one of the sahabis that was a big zahid. I'll give you an example. Striving is something that when a person gains a lot of wealth and a lot of authority in society, that striving kind of goes out of the window. When you become rich, you start buying more luxurious things and you start living a more luxury life, then your zuhud is out the door. All the Sahaba, despite all the riches of this dunya they got, they still were mujahid. They still put a lot of effort. They still stayed away from the luxuries of life. So mentions in one of the hadith, إِيَّاكَ وَالتَّنَعُّمْ, let's stay away, beware of the comforts of life. So mentions فَإِنَّ عِبَادَ اللَّهِ لَيْسَ بِمُتَنَعِّمِينَ, that verily that the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are not the ones who seek the comforts of life. Once you seek the comfort, imagine if you have the most comfortable bed. How difficult would it be to wake up for Fajr prayer? Right? Would it be difficult? The Sahaba, they came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking the Ya Rasulullah, we see that once Rasulullah got up from he had a mat like this, right? Or similar to this. The imprints of the mat was on his back. The Sahaba saw the imprints of the mat on his back. The Sahaba said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, let us get you special mattress. And let us get you special mattress, and let us buy you special clothing, thick clothing. You know, our clothing, mashallah, very thick. You could sleep on this, it will not put any imprint on your body. So the clothing of the time of Rasulullah so very thin. So the Sahaba said to Rasulullah, why don't we buy you special clothing and get you special mat? So said to them that don't worry about it. What is with me and this world? I am to this world like a stranger. So said that I am like a stranger to this world. Why would I get so much involved in the luxuries of life? So look at us. When Umar radiallahu anhu, him being the Khalifa of majority of the world, when he would travel, once he was going for Hajj, he stopped by. You know, the travels back then was several days long, right? He stopped by, and you would assume like a governor or like a president, when they are traveling, when the president of the United States is traveling, the whole caravan goes ahead of time. The hotel he stays in, the whole hotel is reserved, not just that one suite, right? The whole hotel is reserved. When Umar radiallahu anhu, he was traveling, when he stopped by some place, he put his clothing on the floor and he slept the night over there like that, under a tree. Not even a tent. Back then when the Amirs would travel, the whole tent would be set up. You know, this is where the Amir is going to stay the night. Let's set up the tent and the beddings, and then he would sleep over there, rest over there. I'm not saying that it's illegal to do that, but that was the zuhud of Umar radiallahu anhu. He did not have a special bedding for him. He would just take off his outer, maybe the jacket part or the shawl part, put it on the floor, and he would sleep under a tree. That was the zuhud of Umar radiallahu anhu. I'll mention the simplicity of Umar radiallahu anhu. May Allah give us the zuhud and simplicity as well. His simplicity was that he didn't have extra clothing. He did not have extra clothing. Once he came for Jummah, he was a little bit late. So he said to the people that I'm late because my only clothing had a rip. No, sorry. His only clothing was dirty, and he said I was getting it cleaned. And also his clothing had several rips, like more than 12 different rips, and he would get it fixed. That was the simplicity of Umar radiallahu anhu. He was so careful about not spending even a single penny from the Baytul Mal. Today the ministers and all the politicians, how come they're so rich? Maybe perhaps they have extra businesses, maybe. They might not be corrupt, but maybe they have a lot of businesses. But it's possible that they might be corrupt and they're taking from they are corrupt, they must be corrupt, okay. So that wasn't the case. Back then, the leaders, you could see their lifestyle. Because they were so busy doing khidmah of the deen, they did not have time to have a side income. So from the khidmah of the deen, they would not take anything. And then they would live life. You could see them to be the poorest of the mankind. And last, I'll end with this story, this incident. Once someone brought a whole bunch of food, a lot of food and halwa and meeta, right, and sweets. And so you know what Umar radiallahu anhu did? If it was me and you know what we would do? Send one tray home. Okay, send one tray of meeta home, right? Send another tray to my cousin and my siblings, and then the rest will distribute among the people, right? But no, you know what he did? He said that all of it has to be distributed among the people, and he did not take a single thing from it. And then you know what he did? He went there and sat among the people. He did not sit separately on a pedestal and have special food brought to him. No. He sat among the people, and he thought that even then sharing that food from that tray was too much. He asked someone to bring food from his house. So his house food was brought, and then he ate that. So normally we would think that his house food was maybe high quality. No, his house food was much more inferior than the food that was brought. Food that was brought. So he chose that. That was his taqwa. That was his simplicity. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us to have such taqwa, such simplicity. In general, and I'm not saying that, I'm not refraining anyone from gaining the luxuries and the money of this world. That's not the purpose. The purpose is that anytime you increase in your worldly endeavors, you have to also increase in your hereafter as well, in your religion. As long as you're increasing in your religion, you could be rich as well. You could gain your worldly things. But if you increase in your worldly possessions and your religion is stagnant, then automatically your religion will go down. Imagine if you made $100,000, tomorrow you made $500,000, and your religion was the same. That extra money will distract you from your religion. It will take you away from your religion, and your religion will go down. However, if you started striving more in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, striving more, going to the masjid, before you were going to the masjid once a day, then you started going to the masjid for 5 times prayer. Now that extra wealth will not affect you. That extra wealth will not affect you, it will not get to your head. So may Allah give myself and all of us the ability to do zuhud, to have the simplicity, and to emulate the lives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the lives of the Sahaba. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Please excuse me for the delay.